Hello!
Hello!
And welcome back to Trouble at the Tavern, a D&D podcast where we're finally putting the AV in tavern.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
Oh my goodness.
AV stands for...
The puns don't stop,
Audio
guys.
video.
Bad. Bad pun. Worse than usual.
It's not the best, I know.
Guys, we're on camera.
We're on camera.
This
Finally.
is
that
amazing.
one, and
And
We've
that
got
one.
three
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
We do.
For those of you that are listening to us on any of your podcast streaming platforms, this is our first ever recorded episode. So feel free to hop over to YouTube if you've got the time. We are Trouble at the Tavern on YouTube.
newly
That's where you're
created
gonna
as of today.
For
as of
this.
today. Yes, we're always catching up.
Yeah.
Moving
Sounds
forward,
about right.
my name is Chris Black. I am
Yes.
your Dungeon Master for this podcast. Joined with me, as always, Michael Pugasevich.
Dylan Buckley here, who is excited to be on camera for the first time.
Very nice. Hartley
I didn't
Fanson.
prepare. I never prepared.
Never
never do.
prepare.
Yeah.
Hi, I am Hartley Fanson. I play Clue Standy, and my voice, I'm not doing the voice.
Oh.
Not doing the voice today.
You're not gonna do the
You
voice
just
for the
did a
people?
different voice.
It's a break. We're on a break. All right?
He's gonna do the voice.
I might do the voice.
There you go.
Okay.
There, I'm the voice.
The whole episode, really?
No, not the voice.
And last but certainly not least, Maggie Pellude.
Playing Minx Revka. Yeah, this is fancy. This is fancy.
Oh,
Way
man.
fancier than we
Guys.
deserve.
Oh, it feels
Yeah.
so good.
Yes, big shout out to Soda Studios.
Mhm.
This place is awesome.
Amazing.
We're used to recording in Mike's hot living room.
Yes, no AC and
Unplug the fridge.
Unplug the fridge.
This is
It's
why I
Every
wore
time.
shorts.
a fold-out plastic table. It's 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 recording environment. Anyway, let's continue on with the Q&A.
Yeah, so we finally wrapped up our first story arc of the campaign, our Tillville saga. So we thought maybe to give the audience a little something different, we'd record a Q&A if any questions they have after listening to the first 12 episodes. So that's a quick spoiler alert. We're going to be covering up to episode 12.
Yes.
So if you haven't listened up to that point, maybe you want to
And
catch
we
up.
got
Yeah.
a ridiculous number of questions.
Yeah.
Lots of questions.
We got,
you
Thank
guys
you
are
so much,
amazing.
everyone.
we're not going to get to all of them today, but we've got,
We'll
we,
try.
we'll
Try.
try. We'll go
Yeah.
rapid fire at the end. But
Yeah.
we've got something in the realm of like 38 questions.
Amazing.
that we'll potentially get
Lovely.
to,
Thank
which
you.
is fantastic. And just based on time, it might be a good time to go into them.
Let's do it then.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So we're going to start general. I've got a list of them here. We're going to start general, and then we're going to get a little bit more specific into the campaign. First, I think, is a question from me that I think everybody should kind of...
We already have
Listen,
so many
it's
questions.
from me.
So many.
No one else matters.
Everyone, thank
I
you for
just-
sending your questions. However, I'd like
Listen
to
to
start
mine.
by saying
No,
I have
just-
a couple of
I
questions.
think rather than a question,
Classic
it'd be interesting for everybody to kind of like introduce how they got into D&D a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think we've ever talked about that on the...
Your experience level, kind of like, because this is a new podcast, but a lot of us were, maybe not new to D&D, but we're kind of, well, definitely new to recording. And also, we'd only played in one or two campaigns prior. So I'll start.
Yeah, you asked the question, you start.
I didn't expect to start. I was living in Japan at the time, and I watched a lot of all of the D&D content, the three main ones that everybody listens to first, which is, NADPOD, Critical Role, and Dimension 20.
Classic.
All the good ones.
Got obsessed, came back from Japan as COVID was hitting, and was like, I'm making this a thing in my life, and actually brought these two into a short campaign that fizzled out,
Yeah.
but at least introduced the world to us, and we kind of went on from there.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think my first intro was actually, Maggie at your place. We did like a...
That was your first time playing.
Yeah, it was like, was it a
Eh.
Halloween one that we did?
I think it was a haunted
There was-
house.
there was a
yeah,
lot of
it was.
people.
It
That
was
was
a lot of
great.
people. There was a lot of drinking. It was a little chaos,
It was a little
and
chaotic.
but it was a lot of people's first time playing,
Yeah.
and that's always fun.
Yeah, you're my
I didn't
first
know-
intro to D&D.
You're-
Wow.
I
Yeah.
totally thought it was for a second, but I was like, wait.
No, it's actually that's crazy.
And then Maggie,
Suckers.
you've been doing D&D for quite some time.
Yeah.
Maggie's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It plays in like
Okay.
a million campaigns.
Yeah, but I'm still always learning, and I still make a lot of
learning
mistakes. So let's
Sure.
keep that in mind. But no, yeah, my buddy asked me to play in a game, Malik, and it was everybody's first time playing. It was a lot of new people. We ran it. Oh God, I want to say it was in Fay Room, but I don't. Now I'm
Mhm.
blanking.
How old are you?
But It was 2016, I think.
2016?
2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Almost 10
But
years
like
ago.
since then, like I've played in more campaigns. Like I've run a bunch of modules. Like I've run Waterdeep. I've run Theros. Like a bunch of different things. But I do have my heart goes out to like all of like homebrew stuff, and so I'm very always excited when it comes to the table, and there's a lot of that here.
Yeah,
so.
homebrew was my first experience as well. Like Hartley was my first DM, and we played that for about like 5 or 6 months, I want to say.
Yeah, we played 6 months weekly or bi-weekly.
I was playing like a fighter, and then after that fizzled out. I'm like, I think I'm ready for my own campaign. and then following like 2 years, 7-player campaign that just like took so much time.
I think deep down Chris is just a writer, and he's got stories to tell. Yeah, honestly, it's very easy for you. Where for me, when I DM'd the initial campaign, every day was a struggle. Every day was so hard to come up with new stuff.
The story part wasn't too exhausting. It was trying to schedule 8 different schedules in order to play.
Yeah, there are 8 of us in
a couple hours of D&D a week.
Well,
the
nice thing, the beauty of that whole thing is like, even though it was a crazy shit show sometimes, like this sort of the conception of Trouble at the Tavern sort of came from that experience. Like I think the 3 of us when we were playing in that campaign, we were like, it would be so great to like do a podcast and
just to like listen back to like these crazy moments. Like we constantly said like, I wish we had recorded that or something.
Yeah. And I was like, well, we definitely need a 3rd player, and the first person that came to mind was Maggie.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Glad.
Shall we move on?
Let's do another question.
I think another
hopefully
one
it's not one of yours again.
Shit. Okay, I'll go to a different one. This one comes from Sarah, and I think it's an important one to get out from the start. What are our pronouns?
Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
And character pronouns.
Yes.
And character pronouns.
Yeah. Who wants to start?
I mean, my pronouns are he, him, and my character pronouns are,
I guess you're the god.
They, them.
True.
You are everyone.
All of them.
Yeah,
Plural.
you are. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But it depends by character.
It does. It honestly does.
Me as Maggie, pronouns are she, her. Minx's are also she, her.
Yeah, Hartley is he, him. Clue, I kind of have a feeling he's he, him, just because I relate to it a little easier, and I think, but who knows?
Dylan, he, him. Michael, he, him. Yeah.
Sound like one of the 7 dwarves. He, him. He, him.
It's off to work we go.
Amazing. Thanks for your question, Sarah.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah.
So, the next question, let's go to something very general. So this is from Josh for the DM.
I'm already sweating.
What inspiration did you pull from when you created your world?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Well, a lot of like the basic stuff in Hallow is classic D&D lore. Like a lot of the gods, like Pelor, Melora, like they're all from D&D. Like even like the term like Exarch is like a classic D&D thing. So it's not like I made any of that up. I just added a little more flavor in terms of like the history of Hallow and like the word Hallow in general. Like it has like a bunch of meanings, like not only because like it's a very religious kind of term and like this is a world formed by gods, but also Hallow is kind of sounding like hollow, and like because this is a world that like used to be a lot better and it's now a former shell of itself. And also in terms of like Hallow, because I'm a Harry Potter fan, it kind of relates to like the Deathly Hallows and a lot
biggest Harry Potter fan I know.
Yes.
And a lot of like what this main campaign is, like you searching for these relics, it's kind of like searching for like the Deathly Hallows in a sense. So there's a lot of like hidden layers, but yeah, a lot of it is just based on classic D&D lore with a little flavoring from myself.
I'm so glad I don't need to know any of that. I just get to come and like be an idiot for 2 hours every time we record.
And you're Dylan, so truly.
Yeah.
So thank you for knowing all of that, Chris.
It's the least I could do.
Then let's just move on from there. Similar question, so it kind of leads into it. It's for the players, us 3.
Ooh.
When creating our characters, what were our inspirations? Did we take them from real life people, from heroes, fantasy fiction characters? And that is a question. We got it twice, but it's from Julian and Josh.
Nice. Yeah, who wants to take that? Should I? Okay.
You're talking.
Well, here's the thing. In terms of Dylan, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but jumping into a podcast for the very first time and like, you know, doing some improv here and there and like going to art school, but like kind of like getting out of touch with it, I was obviously terrified. So a big part of Dylan is ultimately just who I am as a person. and just sort of like falling into like those
Pure
subtle
chaos.
Well, no, I think like, you know, Dylan and I share a lot of personality similarities. So I think ultimately when it came to creating a character, a lot of it was like, what can I comfortably do on a podcast that like makes sense and is enjoyable for listeners, and it's not me like trying out something that I'm uncomfortable with and ultimately failing like that. I was really scared of that. So going through sort of like ideas of creating someone that has the types of personality traits that I do, sort of Dylan came in mind, where he's like super peppy, he's got a lot of energy,
Oh yeah.
very like, you know, excitable.
You're
I'm
nothing
very
like that.
no, exactly. Yeah, once the cameras turn off, I'm just like this the whole time.
Just
I'm actually
sounds-
more Clue.
Crazy low energy.
So that played a big part of it. But in terms of like, I'm trying to think, because I had another question to sort of segue into it too, was like, you know, what characters did you guys also think about before sort of landing on the ones that we brought to the table?
Right.
And I think there was a couple of other ones that I had. I think I had like an orc that I wanted to play, someone with like an accent. I was like really nervous about accents at the beginning, but Dylan kind of fell into
We've
this
heard your
place.
accent.
Yes, they're sometimes good, sometimes bad, but I think Dylan sort of fell into this like thing where I can expand on this character. I really sort of like loved this arc that he has with his mother. And I think the half elf sort of portion of it kind of just like came through considering things that I wanted to do in the world. But I can't really like pinpoint a time where it was like this is Dylan. Like it's just sort of like kind of culminated into who it was. Yeah, I don't know if that's kind of a weird way to answer that question, but
No,
Cool.
that's great. Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
The spark notes is Dylan is me.
Dylan is me to some degree.
Yeah.
Dylan is Mike. Maggie, who is Minx?
Minx is a lot of the opposite of me, which is funny. Because I kind of built similar. Somebody asked the question of like, what were our alt character
That was
kind of
me
thing.
actually.
It was you.
It
Okay.
was like it made
Never
me
mind.
say
I
yes.
saw it
All
in
of the
the-
questions came from us.
But yeah, no, I built out a secondary character that was a lot more comfortable, I felt, for what I was. I'm specifically not from a city. Like I'm specifically not a very outgoing character. And like sorcerers in general are like usually the face of a party. Like they are charisma, and that was new. Was it the best choice to make for doing something where I'm specifically talking all the time with a group of people and it's recorded? I don't know, maybe. I'm having fun.
I think it's a great choice.
But like, no, I love the character so much, and I was just something that I kind of could sink myself into. And I feel like every character I build, it's like a little bit of therapy. It's a little bit of like taking care of yourself and looking back at it. I played a sorcerer just before this in a different campaign, and I think I just like really fell into it in a really like heartfelt way. And so I was happy to do another like subclass with it. Like I was happy to play a satyr, which is fun.
That's
And
fun.
that came from like a different thing where I was running like a thing with satyrs. And so it's it was just a really fun character to put together, and I loved my backstory and everything. So it felt good. And I went for something that was harder, but hopefully more rewarding.
Yeah, once the backstory clicks in, like that's when you can like really get excited
Yeah.
about the person.
Yeah.
100%.
Because that's where I related to her.
100%.
Yeah.
With
Clue.
me, with Clue,
Her grumpy old man.
a grumpy old man. So I read a lot of fantasy.
Mhm.
My favorite fantasy series of all time is currently ongoing, but it's Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. My favorite character in that book is Dalinar Kholin. He's this very gruff, very kind of like battle-worn and kind of like scarred general. I wanted to create a character that was kind of like that. So it was based loosely off of him, but I knew that I couldn't play anything nearly that serious. So I ended up going for something for like that archetype, that mold, but then yoink him out of the only thing that he's good at and throw him into a situation where he kind of is like just lost, which
Right.
is... I'm lost in the world constantly. I know how to play that all the time. So it kind of just came together. And then when it came to like the voice, I played in different D&D campaigns, ones that you two specifically have been in, where the character always devolves into just me being a dumbass. And I think the voice was a way for me to try and convince myself that like I'm being someone else and not to devolve so quickly. And I think through at least the first the first story arc I've managed-ish to do that. So the voice was kind of from there.
That's so interesting you say that because, like, yeah, I feel like Clue's voice is very grounding in that regard.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have a voice that's like very different than yours, it
100%.
it doesn't let you devolve too much. Because I feel like Dylan had those sort of issues where, like, you know, it's very much my voice just like heightened, which like felt like, you know, sometimes I'd be losing him a little bit. I'm like, okay, I got a real Dylan in, but like Dylan's kind of
Mike's coming out a little bit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So very cool. I wanted to ask, like, did anyone like have any accents in mind for the characters?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
How about you, Chris? Any accents in mind for your characters?
Nothing in particular, no.
For all of your NPCs?
Yeah, no, it's just my voice.
God, which like
actually, that leads into a very good question. I'm leaning away from the mic, but that leads into a very
And
good
you're leaning
question.
towards the other mic.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can't record you. I'm just a flesh sack.
That's okay. Question for the DM.
Yes, that's me.
When you are working on your NPCs,
Uh-huh.
do you practice your voices before you bring them to the table, or do they just kind of come out? That's a question from Sarah.
is this your natural
That's a great
self?
question.
And then follow up to that is, do you have any favorite NPCs?
Ooh, okay, a double question. In terms of the voices, I kind of have an idea of what they want to sound like just based on like the backstory I come up with them. A lot of the practicing is done on the car ride over to your place, Mike, to record.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
But even still, like when we first
Just
are introduced,
picturing.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
in traffic.
Yeah.
Being grub.
Windows are closed, even in the summer. But it's funny because like when I start doing the voices, like sometimes they sound completely different to when they eventually get established. Like Flinthorn, I think when I listened back to like episode 1, like Flinthorn's voice was like, "Well, that's my life story," like a very like low sounding. But then eventually, as like I tried to figure out who the character was just by interacting with you guys, like it came a little bit. What up, yeah? How'd you go? Like
he did change a little bit.
Yeah, so the personality and the voice changes as like I kind of figure out who these characters are because like I can come up with all these different backstories, but I don't know who they are until they start interacting with you guys.
Right.
100%.
And then in terms of my favorite NPC, it's gotta be your parents' Clue. It's gotta be Chien and Josiah.
Oh, me too. Actually, no, I don't know.
Only because they're just so simple.
Yeah.
Like with all the other NPCs, I usually have like some story points that they have to cover. So it's like they can be different characters, but I'm like, okay, they have to cover this, this, and this. With Chien and Josiah, it's just like they're just there.
They are
So
one
I can
note.
literally just play a character. I don't have any agenda with them, no objectives. It's just like, what would they do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I love playing them. I think they were my favorite so far.
100%.
I love that. My favorite NPC would be Flinthorn for sure.
Flinthorn.
Flinthorn?
Love Flinthorn.
Favorite NPC?
It's like Dax. It's Dax.
You
Yes.
have that connection.
But like,
Dax.
but like, oh,
Dax or
Merrick
Kevin? Which
though.
one?
Not
But,
not
like,
Minx's
is like
favorite
the
NPC.
one like memory I got, like the one flashback dream thing I got with him. I was just like, oh, like frothing at the mouth. Like I want to see more of this
Yeah.
character. And so like, but Dax, it's Dax, definitely Dax.
Definitely Dax.
Dax.
Yeah.
Love you, Dax.
For me, I love my dad. I do. I love
We
my
all
dad.
know you love your dad,
But
for
probably
sure.
Banks. Banks is my favorite, and it's because of it was such a pivotal moment us starting the campaign, and it started in Clue's bedroom, and I think my interaction with Banks immediately I was on uneven ground, and then I was just like fucking around with Chris playing Banks, and it just grounded me, and it was such a pivotal moment.
You want my underwear?
Yeah, that was the moment where I was like, oh no, this is gonna be easy.
Yeah.
This is good, and then I didn't sweat for the rest of the episode.
I think it would be fun to talk about. I think there's a question in here about our favorite podcast moments because I feel like that's a nice little segue into.
Sure. Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
who asked that specific question.
I'll find it and I'll
Um,
say it.
But for me, going back to like Banks, after the fight with Bigby, where Banks interjects after the fight is done and Banks is still hanging on the rope and he's like,
Oh.
oh, hello.
Do you mind pressing
well
me
done,
down?
you two. Well done, you two.
That
I'm
was-
still here, dangling.
That question was from Josh and Elena.
Josh and
Perfect.
Elena, thank you for that question.
Good question.
I think that is arguably my favorite. That and the most recent one would be also the Pandora bracelet.
Oh, at the end of
shit.
Our spring line has come out with
Yeah.
Perrick for your.
the secret pen corda.
Favorite
Yes.
moment.
I know
didn't
mine.
come prepared. Go,
Oh.
please.
Yeah.
Mine is it was like a separate moment for you where you were looking at Minx and Dylan. And you like
you were
looked over
upstairs.
us, yeah.
Yeah.
And it
I
was
like
gonna be-
you
I-
big softy. Like that's I don't know. It
And
hit
that was
me
a good moment.
like
That was a
when
good
in
moment.
game, like we had some times in game where like I remember going home and like getting very sad about stuff, but that one was the one that made me happy.
Yeah,
So,
There we go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that was a lovely moment where we're having our little debrief about getting
Yeah.
Dax.
Yeah.
And
You tell me about your
Clue-
friend.
Yeah.
But it was truly like just you being like, I'm gonna
Like,
watch. Like
yeah.
it's a character growth thing, and
Yeah.
I loved it.
growth.
Yeah.
We love
growth.
character
We do
growth.
Yeah.
love character growth.
I think you have to go because I'm still thinking.
How long do you need me to stall?
Harley's
I can talk about.
processing.
Okay.
Give me 20 seconds. I swear to God.
It's gonna sound sadistic, but I think my favorite moment of the
You
podcast.
killing Dylan? You shut up! You
no,
shut
but
up!
for different reasons. Not because I wanted Dylan to die. Not because I wanted Dylan to die at all.
Sure.
But I think like as a DM, it's so much fun watching like how you like craft a story affect the PCs
Yeah.
in a certain way.
Yeah.
So like watching like not even just like the characters like get affected by
Yeah.
Dylan's death, but also you as players, even after we were like stopped recording.
Mhm.
Sorry, Michael.
That's
But I think that
Watching me
he was
scarf down 50 Kinder like chocolates
Ferrero
on
Rochers.
my freaking
Just heartbroken.
yeah.
How
As much as
many
I didn't want it to
chocolates?
happen, I think like it really
Just-
kind of like let me know like okay, these guys are invested in the story. That means like I'm doing a somewhat of a good job. So like I really liked that moment. Like as
Yeah.
much as I didn't want it to happen, it's like okay, this story is real to us. Like
Yeah.
we do have emotional attachment to these characters.
100%.
Yeah, that was a tough moment.
It also showed stakes,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
being real. Like
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. And I think it was good timing on Dylan's part. Sorry to jump off of you, Chris, but
Mhm.
no,
I was done.
because I think Dylan was like kind of still learning
Yeah.
when to not talk up as much
Yes.
as well.
He's
And it
as
was
far as
I think
we're on
he's-
episode 18 recorded now.
think
Yeah.
I think
17 or
he's
18.
still learning actually.
which like and don't get me wrong, like I think that will continue. I think
Yeah.
that I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's gonna stop.
For sure.
Mhm.
But it's and it was also during a moment where like you were helping Minx as a character too.
Mhm.
Like I was like,
Yeah.
help me, my friend, like you would help your friend. And I felt so guilty about that then when you died
Yes.
in that room.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
but good moment.
It's interesting. Like, I feel like, Chris, you have a bit of like a serious switch kind of like with Dylan's shackles in terms of like, you can like, I don't know what it's going to happen or who or what thing I am attached to now
Mhm.
as Dylan Buckley. But I feel like I really sense there being like a big tonal shift whenever that comes back up in Dylan sort of as a character.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of exciting. You hold a lot of power. I mean, obviously you do, but like
He's a god.
it's scary.
He's all the gods.
He is our
Don't
god.
mean the pantheon. He's all the
of
gods.
them.
Anyways, Harley, that was more than 20 seconds.
Yes,
What is your
we-
favorite
we've
moment?
had enough time for you.
It's
Favorite moment of the podcast.
It's a little selfish, but Clue's not Flash Black. Clue's dream sequence. With
yeah.
the charging army and then
On
the
the
whip
mountain.
to the top of the mountain and Peric saying that there's it was just so foreboding
Yeah.
Mm.
in a way that like not even as like just as a player I was like
Mhm.
I'm scared. I don't know what Chris has planned and I don't want to be here for it. I don't.
I think the dream
I wanna
sequences
know.
were like a close second for me as
Yeah,
well. Just 'cause,
dream
like,
sequences were pretty fucking
Yeah.
I think
incredible.
we had a lot of fun doing sound design for that.
Oh my
it's
god.
That was a blast.
It
to sort of,
sounded
like-
great.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
It just it's very rare. I mean, in editing specifically, where you can I don't know, maybe it's not that rare, but like you record something, you're in it, you enjoy it to the fullest,
Mhm.
and then you edit it, you sound design it, and like you're in that moment again, but now with sounds, and you
Yes.
enjoy it just as like it's
Even
the whole thing
more,
of
yeah.
like what movie would you watch for the first time,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we have
we get that probably once an episode, which is awesome.
we have a little Facebook chat for all of our Trouble at the Tavern
Mhm.
stuff, and whenever Hartley and I
We
get
post,
excited
like,
about
little
it, we like
snippets.
export little snippets of like, guys, check this
Look
out.
at how cool this
And
is.
every time you get the same
Maggie and
reaction,
Chris
like,
get it.
oh my god,
It's
it's
so
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile, we've heard like the raw recording like
Yeah,
seven times already.
Chris
Yeah.
is like Chris has memorized every recording because who knows where the
Yeah.
session's gonna go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I've got a couple of questions now that I think are a little bit more related to maybe some mechanical stuff for the DM.
Chris on deck.
Tell us.
Can you please tell us how element orbs work in general?
Yeah.
What are their size? How many spells can you cast? Do they come in custom colors to match your fit?
And if so,
And
Maggie,
that-
which colors is Minx?
Rocking.
Rocking.
And that question is from Janae.
Ah, very nice. Great question. Yeah, so like element orbs are a homebrew item that I made up. And the way I kind of pictured element orbs was that since the gods are away from Hallow, like they haven't been in Hallow for like 1,000 years, the element orbs act as like a conductor of magic. Like you can still cast magic, it's just not as safe and it's not as structured. So the element orbs are in like are substitutions for the gods. So how big are they? Well, it depends on like how powerful they are, because like I think we mentioned that they do come in different sizes and different abilities. Like I think Minx, you have a bunch of little ones, so they're probably the size of like
marbles.
I want to say like a ping pong ball, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they each can cast like 5 spell slots up to a point, or at least like conduct enough for like 5 spell slots.
Yeah.
And then we have like bigger ones, like Clue. I think you have like one
I've
of
got a baseball.
Yeah, you pretty much have like a baseball or like a cantaloupe or something like that.
And I think it can cast 60.
50, I think.
50.
Yeah, so you haven't gotten anywhere close to being through that
Wait,
one.
you can cast 50 spells?
No,
Well, 50
we
spell
know
levels.
it has 50.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very
A
cool.
lot.
50
A
spell
lot.
He's
levels.
a rich boy.
Yes, spell
he's
levels.
a rich. He's a
Yeah.
rich
I
man.
need to recalculate. Oh, okay. Oh, no, I only have level 1s. We're fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
And in terms of like custom colors, I mean, I guess you can customize them. If you're customizing them with magic, it might take a spell slot out of the element orb, but
When I
It's worth
did
it.
interesting.
when I did like mock-ups for Minx, I made them like yellow. They're like
Oh,
a
okay.
goldy color.
Okay.
But that was
Cool.
mine.
yeah, probably like a minor illusion kind of
Yeah.
thing.
The way I picture them is like a soft glow in darkness, where like because they're always changing elements to
Yeah.
like water to smoke to like a
It's
soft.
constantly elements like forming into different things, and that's kind of how I picture like magic in Hallow. Like there's the gods made all the
So
elements to
fucking
form the
cool.
world,
Ugh.
and spells are literally just taking a bunch of different elements and creating something different.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, you need element orbs to do that because they're kind of like the conductor of like
Mhm.
getting from like raw elements to magic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I pictured them like very like bluish, greenish, and
Oh.
like
Different.
They all
brownish.
are different things.
Mhm.
You know, like
That's
earth
cute.
colors.
Um,
Yeah.
May I cut you off?
Are you-
I've already done it.
I've
already done it.
We're already there.
What if you say no? What's gonna happen?
No, Hardly. Let me tell you about the time before you cut me off.
Chris, can you do us a
May I
favor
cut you
and go ahead, please?
Let's get this out. The rest of the podcast.
Here, I'm just gonna move your mic down a little. There
Thank you.
go.
Chris, can you do everybody a favor? Because I know there's been questions throughout the entire kind of first arc of the campaign, and visually show us what the morale cards look like.
Oh yeah.
Show us our morale
Oh,
cards,
actually, this-
explain how they work.
That's so funny. I got you. It's a good thing we're using this deck today, guys, because we would have been embarrassed showing the other deck that we had.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a standard deck of cards that we use. I obviously take out the jacks, queens, and kings to make it just as likely to roll an ace as it is to roll like a 10. And yeah, I shuffle them every time we play. And then if there's like late morale cards that like we still have at the end of sessions, I hang on to the deck, but I keep track of like who got what, because I look at them. You guys don't know, but I look at them and I give them back to you before we start recording a new session. And I guess a little peek behind the screens, which I just kind of introduced to you guys like maybe a week ago, is that there are jokers in the deck that no one has gotten yet. And if you get a joker, that means it's an automatic success. It's an automatic nat 20, and you get a second morale card after that.
Wow. My
Really cool.
God.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you ever
cool.
shuffle the deck? I know
This
there's a
was
question.
yeah.
I can't remember from
I
who,
want to say
but
it's Sarah, but
Might be
I think
Sarah.
it
Yeah.
I
probably
think it was the
Sarah.
best. Yeah. Yeah, I do shuffle the deck. Yeah.
After every session?
Yeah, after every session. Not in the middle of recording,
Okay.
but just after every session.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the last kind of, I know this is rapid fire, but they're all kind of related.
Mhm.
Question from Doug.
Mhm.
Is Meridium a man-made resource?
Mm.
What's involved in making Meridium? And what would happen to the political spectrum if the capital couldn't produce any anymore?
yeah. What if, Chris? What if?
Yeah. Is
man.
it
Give us
dangerous
some
in large
what ifs.
quantities? And what does it taste like? There's a lot of questions in there, but they're all from Doug.
Okay,
Tastes like
great.
strawberry milk.
Oh my God.
Scanning.
In terms of Meridium, again, it's another homebrew thing that I came up with. It's not man-made. It's almost like a resource formed by the gods. Like in the history of Hallow, it was Moradin who made the relics of Moradin using Meridium.
Yeah.
It is like a crafting material that, and yeah, it's naturally made, and it's a lot of time and effort to extract it from Mount Moradin because that's where it's from. So what you've kind of come across in like the Tilville Saga, like that little vial, is like pure raw Meridium that's been extracted from the mountain. What were other parts of that question?
What does it
I
taste like?
gotcha. So,
I want to know what it tastes like.
what does it taste like is the most important one, obviously.
It doesn't taste great because it's not really meant to be.
Because it's a metal.
It's not really meant to be ingested.
Just
yeah.
fireball.
Does mercury taste good? Does it?
I don't know. I think everyone died till before they. Sorry, that was an off.
Hey, can I interrupt you again?
I think that's what happens when you drink Meridium.
Okay.
This is what you sound like.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What would happen to the political spectrum if the capital?
What
So
would?
Meridium is like native to Hallow. So Meridium doesn't exist anywhere on any other planes, like not on the Fae, not anywhere like that. So it would affect a lot of like tourism and like exports and all that, because like a lot of people that are from different dimensions come to Hallow purely for Meridium. So it would definitely affect that, the economy, the tourism. I don't know, not to get too like.
Well, basically all magic use, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true, because Meridium is an integral component in forming the element orbs.
Yeah.
Like a very small trace of Meridium is put into element orbs because, like I said, it is like the element of creation, and that's all what
100%.
element orbs are about, right? So yeah, there has to be Meridium in an element orb to kind of conduct.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
not just a raccoon voice.
But we haven't decided what it tastes like, right?
That's actually a good lead into this question. Oh shit, this is a question for me.
That's okay. Go for it.
What thoughts were behind the conception of grub, and why are you so bad at utilizing them?
That's from Dakota. Thank you, Dakota, for the question.
Well, Dakota, I feel seen, and I don't like it. I've never had a familiar. I wanted one, and I wanted him to
so
be a
bad.
raccoon, and that's it. And I'm getting better. I promise. I'm getting better. We actually made a point of it.
And I think
I got called out a lot for being bad with grub.
Yeah.
But I think it also makes sense because, like, at the start of the story, like, Grub is not a familiar. Grub is literally
He's
just
a raccoon.
He's just a raccoon that eats your garbage. So it wouldn't make sense you have this connection. So
Mhm.
and it would make sense that you forget about him from time to time. But like,
Yeah.
a little peek behind the screen, like, we have made strides towards like Grub becoming more connected with Clue.
We are up to episode, I think we said 18.
18.
It's 18
Yeah.
in recording, even though 12
Is it
were out.
18?
It is.
Wow.
Oh, I
I thought it
thought-
was 17.
No, it's
No,
I thought we
18,
were
I think.
less. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, guys. We're gatekeeping.
and yeah, so Grub is becoming more and more like a familiar every day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
No spoilers.
So
that's it. That's not a spoiler.
wait,
That's just character growth.
I have a question then from like a game, like a find familiar kind of thing. Like, is it like a spell cast or is it just like a pet?
It's a pet.
Okay,
Yeah.
I honestly was unsure
he's
the
a Grub
entire
isn't real.
time.
And it's why
Well, I thought like, cause still, like, they're like still tangible,
It's
but
true.
it's
For sure.
like I didn't know if he was like a little like
Yeah.
He's
like
definitely
like an imaginary friend that like Clue's always had kind of thing.
definitely not
Yeah.
magical.
Okay.
At least yet. Who
Mhm.
knows? Definitely not magical.
Casting.
But definitely just a raccoon. And it's like the reason we're kind of trying to find a way to have him as a familiar where, like, if you'll notice, Chris never gives me in the campaign. If I ask, Grub can give me the help action, but in the Principalor tournament, I had to persuade him first.
Yeah.
You know, like
'Cause he's-
Well, because that was the beginnings of
yeah,
it, right?
and
It's like
and he'll help me more and more later, but I also don't have that implicit understanding of everything he's saying. Chris just talks in the Grub voice and I have to interpret. I think you're saying something good.
Yeah.
It's kind of just ends up being something.
the
like
inflection
that, right?
is there.
Yeah, exactly.
How long did it take? The question for me: how long did it take you guys
for you or
no,
from you?
me? How long did it take for you guys to workshop the Grub voice? Was that all you,
You
Chris?
did it in the moment.
Yeah. Like I think I mentioned
Yeah.
it in.
Did you listen to Raccoon?
He did.
I think I mentioned in like our very first last
Yeah.
college report after episode 1 where like Hartley said, I kind of want a raccoon as a familiar.
You were like,
And I said,
"Fuck."
cool. And I proceeded to just do my research, like, what do
Sick,
raccoons
bro.
sound like?
Yeah.
And like, I think I mentioned it is a lot of like cooing in a sense, like
Yeah.
almost like a pigeon, but I
Yeah.
also wanted to make it a little more like cartoony. So it's not just like creepily like into the
Yes.
microphone, like every
Yes.
time Grub's
Yes.
talking.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a lot of looking at like TikToks of raccoons,
Mhm.
and then like I looked at Pocahontas as well because like
Nice.
yeah,
It's one of the main animated raccoons of
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
pretty
I wanted
much.
Grub to
History.
be a little animated in terms of
Yeah.
like
Yes.
how he would present on mic.
Mhm.
I've got a question for Minx. This is from Doug. How is Minx's relationship with her parents?
Oh, good question.
Fine.
Because we got a little bit of a sneak peek into the relationship with Clue and his parents. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tense. I don't Maggie is now trying to remember how much I have talked about my parents in the campaign.
I don't think a
Um,
lot.
no,
I don't think
at
at all.
Before episode
Yeah,
12.
exactly.
Yeah.
We have to
And
keep
so
this spoiler
no, I know,
free.
and that's where I'm like, it's tense. There's definitely, issues with Minx and her parents. But like we're civil, like we all still like live in the same house for the most part. Like it's like they're obviously much more like originally magic exposed kind of folk.
Well, because
And
they're-
so
they're
like
from-
and
they're
so
from the
like
Fae.
so I'm interested in that, and that's I think they're fine enough people.
Mhm.
These are general
100%.
answers, and I am
Very
so
general.
sorry.
But it's hard because
Yeah.
it's a tough question.
We haven't met
because
them yet.
No,
but, like-
that might.
Maybe we'll meet them one day, and then we can all learn about my parents.
Yes.
But my relationship with them is fine.
Great answer.
Good.
I'm so
Good answer.
sorry.
Deadpan stare to the camera.
Yes, the difficulties
Fine.
of recording Q&As in time between episodes after we've recorded many more.
It's
Yeah,
like we don't know how to
exactly.
schedule.
Yeah.
it's like we don't know how to schedule. It's like we have.
It's like we're doing this
lives.
for the first time.
Yeah, and thank you so much for
So-
watching this hot mess.
Mhm.
Got another question. This is a question for everyone, mainly
Oh.
for us, but it can apply to Chris too. So,
Cool.
Do you find it hard to pull back on your own emotions because they don't align with your characters? And I guess Chris, you can kind of extrapolate that with
Mhm.
maybe Dax is a person who is playing a little bit more dumb to a situation, but you want to get information relayed to us, right?
Oh, for sure. That happens all the time for me.
Yeah.
Like if I have like certain like things I think will happen in a session, I'm like, okay, but this character wouldn't know it, so I can't project the story through this character. And like the amount of times I've asked you guys to roll like perception checks or insight checks, and everyone's like, I got a
Nat
3,
one.
4, not one. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it must be very
cool.
frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you guys don't know anything.
We're a bunch of little like himbo bimbos on this squad. Like
Yeah.
we are.
Himbo Bimbos is a great
Well, we
term.
are. It's
true.
like because we did a way of rolling stats. I don't know if we talked about this. We might have in the earlier ones, but like
We
when
definitely have it recorded.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out.
but
years
like
from now.
when we
Yeah.
did stat rolls, we
Mhm.
didn't do the way that I've always learned to do
No,
stat
we
rolls.
didn't.
No.
We rolled a d20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that scared the shit out of me.
Mhm.
And my stats ended up being wild for a character. Like I just dumped all my intelligence and wisdom were my dump stats, and I've
Mhm.
never had that in a character.
Everyone
Yeah.
has flaws.
Yeah.
And they're very noticeable.
They're
Yeah.
massive.
100%.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
Dylan as a fighter, low con.
Yeah, you know, I when I was building my character, I think
you
I've
know-
said this before.
did-
I didn't know what Constitution was. I didn't know what it was. I was like,
Yeah.
this is whatever.
Doesn't
This is-
show. No, not
That
at
doesn't
all.
matter.
My strength's not. My
main
strength's
thing
not
for a
going
fighter.
up.
I don't need to roll medicine
Yeah,
checks.
my strength's not going up, so it must not be necessary. No,
it's hit points.
it's
It
your
is
it's your life.
lifeblood.
It's your life.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But like, yeah, playing against stats has been hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because like I am like I've always played like very like stuff driven characters that I'm like, I want to investigate everything and perceive everything and read all the books, and
Yeah.
those are not my strengths in this
Nope.
game at all. These are not things that are
Yeah, we definitely made it really hard for ourselves.
We
First
really
time
did.
podcast, we rolled for our own. Anyway, we won't get into it. We're deep now. We're
deep.
we're deep.
I have a question for the players. If you could give your character.
Oh wait, we didn't finish that other question.
Which
Sorry, the one about
How do you
Oh,
counteract your
everyone.
like
Yeah.
emotions?
Everyone. Yeah, of course, of
yeah.
course.
Who was that question from?
That question here, let me tell you. Pulling back on your own emotions. That's a
That was-
question from Sarah.
Ah, thank you for the question, Sarah. Can you repeat the question one more time? 'Cause
Yeah.
we went
Do
on
you
a tangent.
find it hard to pull back on your own emotions because they don't align with your characters?
Mm.
Mike is
I
Dylan,
think I
so
have
you don't
the-
have to answer
Okay,
this.
I was gonna say I think I have the opposite problem.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
I lean into it every single time.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
But no, I think going back to the like, because it was a character that I was like, these are things that are very like opposite me, where I'm like, I want to puzzle solve, like I want to do these things, which like we talked about, me and you, because you were like, just go for it, just go
Mhm.
for it with these things, and like even if you're bad at it, like it, and so like that, but that was a weird state to be in, just because I hadn't built a character in that way, and so that was me playing against it in a way where I have to
Right.
catch myself to be like. Also, just like having any knowledge of D&D previously is always hard to start at a low level, to be like, you do not know anything. You are not exposed to a world where
Yeah.
you know things.
It's almost a blessing that you guys rolled so bad because like it really like
The whole
strengthens the
first
fact that you
story
guys are
arc.
like level 2 and
Yeah.
like you don't know anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
been the hardest
Yeah.
probably on my end.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of similar. Clue is close enough to Hartley that I don't find him.
But you're not a
pulling back.
middle-aged old man.
But I'm not a middle-aged old man who's like spiteful to the world and doesn't want to help. I think generally, if somebody asks me to do things or like asks me to come along, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything. When Clue is very much like, why?
What's in it for me?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know? And so like, but it's not hard. It's more fun to play it like that.
For sure.
I love just being an asshole for
It's
like
fun
an
to
hour
be an
a week.
asshole.
Well, it's fun. It's fun and like fun to like convince Clue to do things too. You know, it's always like
It's a good
it's always an
storytelling,
uphill
yeah.
battle with
There's
Clue,
definitely
but
levels.
yeah,
of
but it
the
always
party,
ends up
yeah.
working out. And I think like going back to just like, I just love how the dice tell the tale
Yeah.
and how just for the first few episodes, like in the Prince of Pelor and like our first couple of fights, just how awful we did throughout the entire.
Oh, the first couple episodes.
That's actually a very good lead into.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes,
If you don't mind.
No, please
Mhm.
lead into away.
A question from Dow.
Delbert.
Dow.
Yeah.
Yes. How deliberate was the closeness of the battles up until now, Chris?
That's a question for me.
And or how do you think about constructing the battles for max drama?
Ooh.
Good question. Thank you
It
for
is,
that. That's
yes.
a really good question.
Thank you so much.
Because
That's a great
I want to know too.
In terms of how deliberate I make it, like how close the battles are, I don't know how close they're going to be.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know whether it's going to be easy. I don't know whether it's going to be really hard. I sometimes think that they're going to be hard just based on like the level of difficulty I make, like how many like characters have high hit points, all that kind of stuff, how much damage they can do per attack. So I guess that in itself adds some like drama to the fights. It's like these fights are a lot harder than like what you would typically find in like the start to a D&D campaign. It's not like your typical
Right.
like tavern brawlers or anything like that, or like
You're
some
doing
We
relic
didn't fit it.
hunters.
Yeah,
Like fight
yeah,
any
yeah.
bears or
Um,
kobolds.
yeah,
It's-
no, nothing like that.
Do you
But
do CR? Most of your guys are homebrew. Do you do like
not really.
you don't do any challenge rating stuff? You really fly by the seat of your pants. Eh?
We're all
I really do.
Hey,
really
we're all just
really
being
Chris?
flung around in Chris's world. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, but I guess also in terms of adding drama to the fights, like I usually try and add some other level to the fights as well. And in the first 12 episodes, it's really been like integrating the NPCs, like
Yeah.
adding more emotion and stakes to the fights. Where it's like if you guys were just going to like fight Oda and Orla in the warehouse, it's like
Yeah.
all you had to worry about was yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Or when you're fighting Big B in the woods, all you have to worry about is yourself. But by adding that extra level of like, no, we have to focus on Clue's dad, we have to focus on
Yeah.
Dax and Banks.
Yeah.
It adds some stakes to the fight where you're not just worried about yourself and like
Yeah.
you don't only have to win the fight, but you have to win in a certain way because otherwise like you'll lose people that you've become
yeah.
emotionally attached to, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what really adds drama is like having these emotional attachments to characters and then putting them in danger. Because like it sucks when your players are in danger,
100%.
but then it's like you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about, well, what's the world going to be like after this if I don't do a good job?
Yeah.
For sure. And it's nice because like I feel like the stakes are always on the table, and I think that just really makes for like a captivating sort of emotional experience. Because it's like
Mhm.
if we just came in and we're like, we killed
There's some
10
bandits
shit-
a kilometer away.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
we killed them quickly.
Yeah.
Great. Let's move
Yeah.
on, right? It's
Yeah, like the overall overarching story is definitely integrated heavily
Mhm.
into the fight. So like
Mhm.
every fight is like a story beat
Yeah.
essentially, right?
AKA,
Yeah.
you're a good DM.
What? Chris?
What?
Yeah, no, he's good.
I realized I've given a question to Maggie. I've given a question to me, to Chris, obviously. I've got a question for you,
Oh, okay.
Michael.
Oh, perfect.
Where was it? What would
Where was it? That's your question.
Tell us the information.
The information?
Oh, God.
what?
Yeah.
What would Dylan do as a job besides farming
Oh,
if his
jeez.
mom
Oh.
didn't abandon him?
Abandon's a strong
If you
word.
didn't have mommy
Abandoned.
issues, what would your
Abandoned
job
for 8
be?
years.
Well, here's the thing. If my mom was still around, she would still be technically an elf who fought in the Great Orc Battalion. So she'd be pretty badass. So I think if anything, my job would have just been probably going on adventures with my mother.
So nothing would have changed except the people you go on adventures with.
Probably. I would probably just like, I mean, depends on whatever, like, if it all depends on what my mom would be doing at the time, right?
Yeah.
Because, she went back to the Fae. She's up to something there. Who knows? But yeah, I think definitely the Dylan's need and want to figure out like that part of his life would still be ever present. And I think I would just be pestering my mother to tell me everything about the Fae, everything about her being an elf fighter and wanting to learn every single, trick of the trade and probably becoming a fighter just like her.
You probably would have been less squishy.
Yes, probably would have been a
You
little
would
bit
have
less
had
squishy.
a way higher constitution
I definitely,
Your mother would have been like, Dylan, invest in Constitution.
Yes, mama.
It's not a dump stat, Dylan.
Consta what? Definitely would have farmed though, unfortunately. Sorry. But yes. That and whatever my mom would do. That's my answer.
That's a good answer.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go to, that was a question, by the way, from Doug. From
Douglas.
Doug. The
Thank you.
next one that we'll go to, we've already done favorite NPC, but if you could bring one NPC along with you for the rest of the campaign,
Flinthorn.
who would it be and why?
I'm really surprised our answers aren't Cadmus at all.
I know,
Anyway.
but like Flinthorn's just so fun.
That's fair.
It's like
Yeah.
I think Dylan would say Cadmus because Dylan
Yeah.
is infatuated with Cadmus, but like Flinthorn is just
But
a
an army of
blast.
sheep.
I know, right? I feel like he has some like crazy sheep
So many
control
stories.
powers. That Flinthorn for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
What are you guys?
Banks, he's my butler.
Yeah.
And he's, yeah.
Buy him some
the good
underwear.
banter. When I get back to Tillville, all right?
How about you, Maggie?
Probably, again, it would be Merrick, but like that's just
Merrick?
me
Yeah.
because I'm like, I just think that he's smart because
course.
I'm just like I'm attached in that way.
Yes.
I'm really happy Dax is here. I'm always stressed about Dax being around, but I'm
Mhm.
happy he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
kind of have to take care of him
He's
and
getting
all of us.
stronger. I don't know.
I mean, he was the one that had the final blow
Yeah.
against Bigby.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no spoilers past episode 12, but in episode 12, he comes up clutch.
He really
Like
does.
I
He is
love him,
so good.
but I don't know if I want him adventuring because I'm afraid of
The
him,
things that might
like
happen
him
to
getting hurt. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess for me, if I was playing and I'd want some NPCs to come along, I think it'd be the same answer again. I would want Shien and Josiah.
You motherfucker. Just the favorite
their
characters.
parents?
Only because they're the two people that you would think would go on an adventure, like not at all. Like they're the
Yeah.
least likely adventurers, so it'd just be funny to see them out of their
They would
element.
just sleep in the cart the entire time.
Where are we?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Sleeping the entire
I
time.
could go for another nap.
We're gonna find them at an all-inclusive resort somewhere.
Yes.
Later on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question now from Colin.
Yes.
What the hell happened to Cadmus?
Ah.
Will we see Ignatius and Antioch later?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, great question,
I had to do some
Colin.
Googling to understand what was that
So
question
actually,
about.
that's funny. So in terms of Cadmus, I mean, without giving away anything from anything past episode 12, who knows? Like he was heading to the capital. You guys are heading to the capital, so we'll see. And then Ignatius and Antioch, that's a reference to Harry Potter. Because Cadmus, Ignatius, and Antioch are the Peveril brothers,
Okay.
and they are the three original keepers of the Deathly Hallows. So I think it's kind of funny that
I
like
see.
Cadmus, who is a relic hunter searching for these like hallows or like
Yeah.
these ancient weapons.
Are you going to give him brothers?
That'll be a spoiler, so I can't tell you anything.
Say yes right now.
I never give away spoilers
real.
when we're not recording
Just-
on film. I
Whatever
know now.
happens here is canon. So.
That's true.
Just
That's true.
plagiarize
That's factually
everything
true.
you want from J.K. Rowling. Take it all.
Yeah.
Take it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Colin, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Colin.
We've got a question from Mika.
Yes.
Fuck, marry, kill, Dylan, Clue, Minx.
Love
and that's
it.
a question for the DM.
Thank you
because
for the
we're
question,
them.
Mika.
Dylan's a minor.
Okay. Well, first of
I'm
all,
not sure
I
if I'll-
can't say fuck Dylan because he's a
No.
minor.
Yeah,
So,
so-
that's out of the question. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say kill Dylan because he's already died. He's already died.
Okay.
He's already died.
He's
He's
already
used to it.
died.
Okay.
And he has
Okay.
some higher powers,
I-
somewhat.
Loophole.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I
Yeah.
really thought Clue was dead. All right, I'm happy. I'm fucking in the red already. Not red, black. I'm in the black already.
black.
And then I guess I would say I would probably fuck Clue.
Hey!
It looks like
the
it
winner!
actually looks like the black is in you.
Oh shit!
Because his name is Chris Black.
His name's
Yeah.
Chris Black.
There you go.
Well, fuck. It's really good.
Only because
Really
I think
funny.
I think I would enjoy myself being married to Minx more. I think Clue was like
Oh yeah.
not someone I'd
He's
want
a
to
head
spend
case.
a lot of time with.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is a head
We're
case.
Yeah.
instantly demonetized.
This is
Yeah.
the sensible answer.
Okay, I think I worked away around that question. That
Yes, you did.
Yes,
makes
you
me
did.
feel
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
And then- and
Listen,
then-
you avoided all of the bombs,
Yeah.
all of the shells.
Yeah.
Shells? What are mine?
I don't
Mine.
know.
Mines.
Yeah, all
Mines. A mine. It's from Lord of the Rings.
And then there's a follow-up there
The
that I wrote.
follow-up is for us three.
Yes.
Fuck, marry, kill. Flynnhorn, Banks, Sheehan.
Very good.
Okay, we all can have specific answers, or we can go together on this.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'll choose.
We're going together. Go for it.
Let's go.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna go marry Sheehan because she's.
Oh, we're different.
No, we're
Okay.
different. Okay, we gotta do different.
Okay.
We gotta do different ones. You go.
Okay, because
You're-
marry Sheehan because she just used to sleep. She sleeps all the time, so that's great.
you're just doing it for the inheritance.
I'm also doing it for.
So she
for
dies
Clue's
soon,
money.
and you take her money, my money.
I think. Oh, jeez, who do I want to kill? Flynnhorn or Banks? Oh my goodness, I'd have to kill Flynnhorn and fuck Banks. I know.
Okay,
I
wow,
know,
that
different.
is the
I know,
exact
I know.
antithesis of what I was gonna do. So, please,
Fuck Flynnhorn, Mary Banks, kill Sheehan.
yeah, that's
Nice.
the
Yeah.
correct
Okay.
answer. That is
Okay.
100% the correct answer.
Listen, agree to disagree.
I'm sorry, Banks has done nothing but beautiful things for us the entire time.
The
What a
entire time.
gentleman.
Cut
Maybe,
back-
but maybe Banks needs some other love, you know?
Cut back to 5 minutes ago with
Wow.
Cut back to 5 minutes ago when
Wow.
Mike's like, I think my favorite NPC that I want to take on this journey would be Flynnhorn. And then now kill Flynnhorn.
Yeah, the first, the
Murder.
easiest thing.
I'm telling you guys, it's I'm unhinged. As is Dylan.
We know. We're your friend.
We've gone
I
through
know,
it.
I know, I know.
That's actually a good lead into
is now.
a different Mika question.
That was-
Oh,
So,
we did?
I was
what
like-
about yours? Did you marry your?
The
Oh, you
same
guys
thing.
agree.
Yeah.
You guys agree.
We agree.
Okay. Yes.
have your characters ever been in love?
Aw.
That's for us three,
Who's starting?
obviously.
I think yes.
Yes.
Hold on, I need to
Yes.
open a tab.
Yes.
Yes.
This is backstory.
Yes. Dylan has. I think Dylan is slightly. I think his friend Bernard.
Oh, you're
Wow.
telling us who.
From his I am. Yeah. I'm gonna share some info. Sure.
Wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
yeah.
a thing.
A childhood friend. You
Oh,
know.
I'm not either.
It's sort of a thing that I
Are
don't.
you talking
think-
about Ronald?
Oh my God, I am talking about Ronald.
Love of your life. Wrong name.
Listen.
I started typing Bernard?
Listen.
Who's this mysterious
Nice.
Bernard?
Listen, you write the names when you make the backstory almost a year ago, and you don't come back to them for quite some time.
It's
Is it
true.
Bernard? It's Bernard, isn't it?
It's Ronald.
It's Ronald.
Ronald.
Who are you?
No, it's Oda.
You're
Oda.
fucking
Or-
chaos out of your
Oda.
mouth.
I know. I know.
A brand new character
This
he
is the
writes, starts
unhinged segment
frantically
of the
writing.
thing. Yeah. Dylan has a crush on him. I'd say, and that's
Okay.
that's it. That's where I leave it.
That's
Yeah.
really good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After you.
Nothing
Yeah.
happened, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm. Yeah, the answer is yes.
Answer
the
is
answer
yes.
is yes.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No.
Okay.
You,
I-
you haven't asked me about my personal life in game. I'm not going to talk about it, but the answer is yes.
Maggie and I are on a similar wavelength right now. I think Clue has kind of. I'm not sure.
I think Clue is with money in love.
No, that's not true.
Ooh.
He's
No,
not
quite
in
the
love with
opposite.
money at all. He
Quite the
couldn't care
opposite.
less.
I
true.
have a
It's true.
question, and you can choose to not answer,
For
but
sure.
this person or persons that Clue was in love with, are they alive or dead?
Ooh.
I am not going to answer that.
That's fine.
Whoa. Chris writes, he will not answer that.
I'm not going to answer that.
That's fine.
Fair.
I
That's totally fair.
I don't
I-
think anybody I've ever been in love with is dead.
Okay.
So
you know,
that's-
I would say
I
it's
think.
it's a coin flip, and I also don't know necessarily if the person that Clue is in love with, it could have been an unrequited love. Also,
Mm.
there's not necessarily like a I think Clue would have mentioned up until now if he had had a wife and she died.
I don't know.
You're actually that's very fair.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, no, you're very reserved.
no, but I'm gonna. That's my spoiler. Clue
cool.
has not had a wife. But he,
I have to delete so many notes.
but I do think he's been in love.
I think it's so cool that we have so many little secrets between all of us about like your
We've only
characters.
done 12
Only 12
episodes.
episodes in.
I know, but I just think it's so cool. It's like, I don't know, like when you release a film or you release like a series or something, it's like everyone knows what's gonna happen. You know, we're all sitting down and we're talking about all that, but it's just like it's cool that like
100%.
I don't know, it's just cool that we have all these
It's
characters
nice.
that are alive and
We got so
put
much more.
time
I'm
into
not sure.
them.
Secrets do make friends.
Yeah. If we're
Really cool.
if we're talking backstory and stuff like that, it just like I talk to Chris all the time. Chris will still ask me questions of what do you think about this like 20 years ago, and I go, there's just so much
Which
to
is
unlock even
nice.
for me.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost secrets from myself. They're little like
Well, because we're also learning about the world as we go.
yeah,
Right?
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
100%.
so
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah,
move
what
Yeah.
else you
on?
got?
I got a bunch.
hit us.
There
Yeah.
we
Well, there
go.
was actually an
Ah.
overall podcast one, which I would love to
Yeah, so I've got a
talk
couple
about.
here.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, well, I've been avoiding it because it's just a pat on the back for us. You guys,
Oh, okay.
you guys do such a good job editing. This is the way I read
Aw.
it every time I read this question. You guys do such a good job editing
You're
down the
so
session to a
dramatic.
tight 1 hour. But I'm wondering how long the actual play session is and how much you're cutting
Oh.
per episode. Not to ask you to reveal your trade secrets. And that's a
Secrets.
question from
Kathy.
Kathy.
Yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
Casey,
Great
for the question.
Thank you so much for the question.
Yeah. We
I can tell you.
Sure.
We
go
can
for
we
it.
can tell the process.
I'm gonna lean back in my chair.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
So here,
You
let's
guys
lean
do
in.
great.
Let's lean in.
Well,
Um,
let's talk about recording first. I think it all depends. I think we went through a couple different stages where like Chris would have a timer out, and then we were like fuck the timer, and then we started going overtime and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think Chris, you has a general sense of like how we try to aim to keep things around an hour.
but I mean that's
It all depends, right?
Well, it's a good segue because we're planning on, as future episodes are coming out, our cadence of release is going to switch from 1 week to 2 weeks, which is a
Yes.
spoiler for what we're going to
Talk
reveal
about
at the
it
end.
at the outro, but let's talk
We're
about it.
switching from a week to 2 week release,
Yeah.
but then the trade-off for that is we're going to make the episodes longer
Yeah.
so that they're a little bit more fulfilling it from a plot and story perspective.
Yeah, because the first 12 episodes were really like a prologue to the world. Like it's
Yeah.
us introducing to the world, and like,
There's
not a
so
lot of
much to do.
not a lot of big story arc happens like
Yeah.
in Tillville, but like as you guys leave the city, like and
Yes.
get into like the main campaign,
We're
like,
getting into meat.
you're gonna want a lot of longer episodes, not
Mhm.
just for like stuff to happen, but also just character growth, because you guys
Yeah.
are gonna meet a lot more characters. You're gonna do a lot more things, so it makes more
Yeah.
sense to have it longer than an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a weekly release was tough, but
It's
I'm glad
so
we
hard.
did it. We got through it, and now we have a really good chunk of content out there. That
100%,
we can
yeah.
sort of slow it down just a little bit, and like make sure that we're getting good quality stuff out
And
there
keeping
for
the
you
quality
guys.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but-
in terms of the actual process, we get the raw recording that immediately goes to Chris so that he can review and continue to plan for the next session.
Mhm.
The amount of raw recordings I just listened to.
He
like,
listens. It's all he listens to. He doesn't listen to music anymore. What's music?
Music is obsolete for me now. It's
Um,
just hello.
Yeah.
So he does that. Michael will export the stems for me.
Yeah.
We'll usually cut down. I can reduce. I just finished the
It all
easiest-
depends on the pauses and
I-
things like that, right? But
Yeah.
It does. I just finished editing down episode 15, and I cut about 15 to 20 minutes from the beginning product to the end product.
Mhm.
So 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the type of episode. That's usually like cutting down pauses. That's usually cutting down repeated sentences because we stumbled.
Mhm.
What? No,
we
we
also
don't. What are you
pee.
talking
Yeah,
about?
we never stumble. Actually, never mind. I don't edit. It's straight from the mics
We're
into your
professionals.
ears. So then I do that, and then we do a little bit
The
of
polish,
tag team.
yeah.
I throw in music, SFX, ambience, but I do it very rough because by then it's probably like 7 or 8 hours in, and I'm getting sick
Yes.
of the episode.
Yes.
And so I send that to Mike, and I say, "You do the rest."
Yeah, yeah, and then I do the finishing touches, add some
And
other.
it's not just finishing touches. Mike takes oftentimes the choices I make are just general vibes of a scene, and Mike will literally go like, "This is a bad call. We're gonna remove that." Why is this in here? No, but it's good because
Yeah.
by 8 hours in, I'm not seeing.
No,
straight
It's good to have a
lines.
couple eyes to
Mhm.
go
But
through
it's
stuff,
good, yeah.
And
It's
so-
good to build off of, and it allows me to sort of like get those other moments sort of like polished up.
And so you'll
yeah.
polish, you do the mixing,
Yeah,
the
man.
compressing, and then it goes into your ears.
And
Yeah.
you guys do such a good job. Like every time,
And-
like every
So
time you say like,
thankful.
"Oh, final
Guys.
podcast is out," like I get so excited to listen because it's like a new product for me. Even though I
For
listen to the
sure.
raw recording like over and over.
That's
and
what I
over
was saying
again,
earlier, right? Like it
the
becomes
sounds, the music, like it just adds something.
I mean, I know it's starting to sound a bit of like a circle jerk, but at the same time, it's like, Chris, like you do so you do so much prep.
You guys
Maggie
are
also
amazing.
all the
With the
stuff, all the
graphic
stuff that you
design?
see
Oh, yeah.
behind us, all of our
Holy
Instagram
everything,
posts.
Maggie.
Dalbert actually
everything.
made these ones. Shout out
It's
to Dalbert.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, no, it's we make a good team.
But in
guys.
terms of, but in
I don't
terms
know
of
what to tell you.
in terms of things being cut out, yeah, there's a couple of things that we sort of cut out or we retake certain moments just because we want them to be a little bit better. But overall, it's
We
like,
don't change
what
the
you hear is what
plot.
you
We
get. No.
usually just
Of course. No, we don't change the plot.
it's for
The dice always tell the tale.
the dice tell the tale.
We
Yes.
take pee breaks.
We take pee
turn on a
breaks.
fan sometimes.
Sometimes-
Don't spoil it.
Sometimes I forget to turn my fridge back on and all my
Yeah.
food gets spoiled. All right, what else? What else do we have?
We've got a question from Anthony. I'm gonna read it out loud. Will your podcast be like Pokemon and have a new theme song or new theme music for every season or chapter?
Yeah, actually, Dylan did not come back to life. I'm actually Ash Ketchum now, and I'm
You have
here
the
to
exact
be
same vibe.
And we're
the
gonna
very
travel across
best.
the land.
searching far and wide.
Far and wide.
Sorry, the question was, will we have other music?
Mhm.
The last call music is going to change starting next chapter.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have
New
new music
jazz.
for that.
New
Yeah,
jazz.
new music at the beginning and the end. I don't think much will change in terms of
Hey,
the
listen,
original.
after we just told you how much work
Yes.
goes into the actual episode, you're asking for music. Really?
But that being said, if you are a music creator out there and
Make one for
and if you want us to feature
Well,
any of your
join
songs,
us,
if you create fun little fantasy tunes or anything like that, and you like the podcast,
We're
and
constantly looking for music.
we're constantly looking for music, and we're constantly looking for people to team up with and make.
Yeah.
I
cool
literally
stuff,
have
so
a tab up right now called "Water Dripping in Cave"
There you
sound
go.
effect.
There you go. So
It's constant searching.
So yeah, that's a shout out for you guys. If anybody has things to make, thank you to Sheil for making our intro music and our recap
Yes.
song.
Yes.
Sheil might be making some other things, and yeah, anyone else out there who wants to make anything and send it our way, we would love to feature it.
Absolutely.
We love to get in touch with the community and work with you guys on anything. So yeah,
Let's keep going. That's
Yeah.
that almost
Let's.
that ended in a very like we could just end now. It
no,
was so
we still
good.
got some time. We still got some,
I-
we still got some
We got-
questions.
I got some good questions. So let's make these are kind of rapid fire-ish questions.
Okay.
If
Yes.
we're cool doing those.
Yeah.
If you could give your character any one special item or wear, is like something to wear, what would you give them and why? And that's a question from Sheil, the guy who did our sound.
Sheil.
our-
Shout out to Sheil.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want a casting thing that doesn't break. That'd be really fucking cool. But also, that is the world that we're in, and I understand the boundaries of it, and I'm so scared of not having element orbs. But something like that, yeah. Or just like, I don't know, really cool hat. I don't know. That's it.
A really cool hat. We already
You mean
got those.
besides-
We already got
besides
those from
Flint
Flint
Horn?
Horn.
Are you
Technically
saying
got
that
it from
Flinthorn's
Flint-
woolen hat aren't cool?
let's
Okay,
not make Flint Horn
I
sad,
wear
okay?
it.
You're killing him.
Yeah.
What do
Yep.
you mean? Let's not make him sad.
You are all over the place.
God,
What
that portion of this Q&A feels like a fever dream. Anyway,
What would Clue want? I feel like you have things.
Another sword.
A +2 greatsword.
oh my God.
Give me a +2 greatsword.
You want
Indoor and outdoor.
Indoor and outdoor, and what will be the third? Is there a basement sword?
No, I just replaced both the indoor and the outdoor with a +2.
+2.
Mm.
I see.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
see.
Absolutely.
Well-
Honestly, the real answer is give me a relic. Give me a relic. Make me an
Yeah, I was
Exarch.
thinking
Give me
that
a
too.
relic. I know that is where the
course you
campaign's
would.
going, and if it's not where the campaign's going, Chris, I'm making it go there. Backspace.
Are we all gonna
Do you
wield,
have to
are we
say
all gonna wield
backspace?
relics at some point?
Oh yeah,
I really want
I'm
that.
making
I
it
really want
happen.
that to
I
happen.
am. I'm a player. I'm making it happen.
You guys barely beat.
You're the god.
You guys barely beat. No.
Hey, shut
Hey,
up.
we beat 3.
That's
we
true.
beat 3.
Not at once.
Not at once.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all at once would have been tough.
What would you have?
Um,
We
Probably a
died
shovel, right?
multiple-
Probably a better shovel. I mean, granted, I have a golden shovel now, and I think there's a
Ooh.
question regarding
I was
the
about
name
to go
of
there
it.
in a sec.
But yeah, I think a shovel relic would be. sick. I think Dylan wants a shovel relic.
Do you think Pelor really went to like the ends of the earth to pour his power into this like magical device that spans ages?
Listen.
And he goes, "What's the form for this?"
But I
A
feel like
shovel.
I feel like you could find someone though. Like Meridium's raw. Like you could
Yeah.
You can make
imbue
one.
things.
I mean,
maybe.
listen, we
Not
have
relic,
a vial
but
of it.
we got
All
a
I gotta do is
vial.
pour that sucker on my golden
That's
shovel.
not how it works.
Nope, I
That's
gotta
not
take it.
how
I
it
gotta
works.
take it to a specialist. But no, Pelor doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. A relic shovel would be sick.
Fair.
Imagine the things we could dig up.
That's
Our past.
Digging up
Our dead friends.
a relic
Oh
shovel
my
could
God.
literally dig up the
It
past.
digs up the past.
You travel. It's a
That's
time traveling
really
shovel.
good.
Okay.
Write that down.
Oh
you
my
write
God.
that
A
down.
necromancer with like a shovel that did that though would be so
That would
fucking
be
cool. That would be
fucking
such a fun build.
crazy.
I feel like
As
there
like-
needs to be more shovels in this campaign.
I think that's a you thing.
You're really selling me on it
Dylan
right
just
now.
wants to own, not follow his mom or his dad, but just have a shovel shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
For
gonna
the
be
rest of
best
his
shovels.
days.
Ugh.
Speaking of that shovel, question from Anthony.
Oh yes.
Any thoughts on the name of the golden shovel?
Well-
And he says bushel has a nice ring to it.
Bushel does have a nice ring
Bushel.
to it. Spoiler, no spoiler. Keep listening to the show. You'll find. You might find out soon.
He's
That's all
already
I'm saying.
named it.
I've already named it, and I won't drop it here.
it.
So just because then it makes you listen to it.
Wow, you're so professional.
Listening.
You know how to leave.
Listen, we've got the look, we've got the shirts. We do not have.
We got the
attitude.
stickers.
Again, all
Where is
Maggie.
it?
All
Yes.
Maggie.
All Maggie.
Shirts,
All
stickers.
Maggie. Stickers coming soon.
Follow
Let
us
me know
on
if
our
you
Patreon.
want
Everything
stickers.
coming soon.
Again, so professional.
Okay. More on the rapid fire. Who is
Yes.
Chris's favorite roommate in university?
Oh,
Oh.
that's from Julian, right?
Yeah. What is the
Thank you,
answer?
thank you, Julian, for the Dungeons and Dragons.
Thanks, Jules. I can't pick a favorite. They were all amazing. I will say who
Wow,
was my least.
cop out answer.
I will say who was my least favorite.
Also, why is it pointed at your nose?
It's trying to get away from the loudness of my voice.
I will say I do have a least favorite. It was the guy who subletted from one of us for like half a semester.
Good to hear it. We lost one
That guy
fan.
sucks.
What's his name? And let's put him in the podcast.
He's
throw him,
actually
throw him
our
into the
BB.
hardest fight.
He's our what?
He's our bad guy. He's our big guy.
Big B? Big B
No.
was your roommate?
Yeah, I had a roommate named Big B.
Love that.
Yeah.
Next
Love that.
question. Is Dillian?
It's
Oh,
Dylan.
that's actually
That's actually funny. That's very funny.
Dillian.
Deep lore.
This is
Do you
all
want to go
Mike.
into it?
This is going into like this. People are going to be concerned.
Deep
They're going to be
lore.
like calling
Deep lore.
Michael is chaotic, and we're worried about him.
That's how I feel every day.
I made Dylan Buckley as a character on D&D and Beyond, and I spelled
Just D&D Beyond.
Buzz Lightyear.
Dungeons and Dragons and beyond.
D&D and Beyond. No, so I made Dylan Buckley. I spelt it. What was the first one I spelled it? Was it Dillon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the original spelling.
And then I made another one, and I spelled it Dillion without knowing.
But also pronounced Dylan.
And
Dylan
so,
also pronounced Dylan.
For the first couple months on every in the description of our podcast, it was Dillian.
Dillion, yeah. No, it was Dylan.
Dylan. with
Dylan,
an A.
because I think no.
I think on our Instagram
Dylan.
post, like the
When
character profile.
when you send
There's
me
so
your
many
D&D
ways to
Beyond,
spell that name. Dylan doing the sound now is spelled with a Y. Thank you, Dylan, by the way. Shout out to you. But we are there's just so many ways. There's so many ways to do it. But I think Dillion is the one that we're sticking with because it's got
we're gonna
right?
just say Dylan, aren't
we're
we?
gonna say Dylan, but I'm
Okay.
saying in terms of spelling, it's Dillion, right?
Yeah, well, we can change it. However,
No,
but it
that's-
was so funny because you sent me a character description and a
Yes.
character sheet,
Yeah.
different names. I just picked the sheet and made that your
Yeah.
character just
Yeah.
like picture,
Yeah.
and then we all looked at it and you were like, "Good."
Good. I'm really on top of
We
things,
didn't even
guys.
Oh
see
my
it,
God.
and so that will live there forever.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it down. But
No,
if
no,
you
no.
do an updated character, maybe.
No, but I think I remember searching up like I think it's spelled that way specifically has some sort of ties to the Fae.
It's a little more Fae-like.
It's more Fae-like, which I
Yeah.
think I enjoyed that. So
Dillion.
Yeah.
from this point on, Dylan's name is spelled Dillion. Canon.
Until he accidentally
Canon.
I need a
misspells
big
it again.
stamp.
Until he accidentally misspells it again.
Yes.
Yeah. Is Dylan A Manchurian candidate for Pelor now.
See, I don't know what that
I
is.
had to look it
Okay.
up. So
Okay. Is that a Doug question?
That's a Doug question.
It's being
That's a good
used as like
question.
being used as a puppet by like an enemy power.
Oh, well, Chris, is Dylan a Manchurian candidate now?
Next question.
But next question, another Doug question? Are we going to talk
Uh-oh.
about Clue definitely committing war crimes?
Are we?
Are we?
No, Clue's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Clue is fine. We're not going to talk about Clue in the war, not yet.
Right, because
But
we had that little dream sesh of yours, right, where you were
I don't want to talk about
fighting some orcs.
it. Yeah, fighting
Yes.
some orcs. I was in the great. I was.
So we can expect that you were
same-
in the grade. Well, yes,
with your mom.
with my mama.
Wait,
with your mama.
Mom.
Michael.
Yes.
Did you start thinking about a new character once you found out you were dead? That's a question from Dakota.
There
D.
was thank you, Dakota. There was a small period of time between us finishing recording and doing the last call and then everyone leaving and me, as I think I talked about in the last call, me and Chris having a little sit down. That I did. I started thinking about other characters and I was like, shit, I have to come up with someone that's going to fit into this world and jive with the other players. But then we had a little session and then you informed me that in fact that did not need to happen. But yeah, there was a brief like, holy shit, what's going to happen now?
Oh yeah.
And I was just like prepared for it. I was already thinking up other characters and other races that I wanted to play. But thankfully didn't have to delve too deep into that. Thank you, Dakota, for the question.
Thank you, Dakota, for the question. Next,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of, actually, one last rapid fire from Josh. Does Dax have any siblings, Chris?
Ooh, I think that's a great question. No, he does not.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Simple.
Spoiler: Dax does not have any siblings, but
Okay.
I will say a little peek behind the screen. We are traveling to Dax's hometown, so we may get a little taste of like
What his
a little
home
bit
life is.
Yeah, a little bit of Dax's home life.
What's the vibe?
What's the vibe?
What is the vibe?
And Dax actually spells his name D-I-X right now, but it's pronounced Dax as well. Dix? Yeah, but it's pronounced Dax.
Are you just doing a callback to the?
Yes, he's
Dylan?
making fun of
He's
you.
making fun of me.
What are you
Good,
talking
good,
about?
good. That's fine. That's fine. I
how
wish
he
you
spells
wear a
it.
shirt today, Chris. Okay.
Next question,
So
please.
that we
Next
can be on
question,
an
next
even
question, next
playing
question,
field.
please. I love this. How we all have to wear the same thing.
That is my favorite part of the podcast.
Off mic.
Curling and tacos.
We're getting crazy. Have the hosts of this podcast ever explored each other's bodies?
Mike and I don't like to bring it up.
That's
but,
a question from Graham.
The answer is yes, and let's move on.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on. What's your
There's,
favorite?
there's a reason why Mike and I are sitting as far away from each other
yeah,
as
yeah,
possible.
of course. What's your favorite Chris pun?
Oh, did you?
There's one that you did in the ones that we're recording that is really good, but I can't spoil it.
Potion of minor feelings, maybe.
I think that was like early on. There was like
It's
a
an early one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, jeez.
I'm also thinking of one that happened more recently,
Yeah.
and
I
'cause it's
have
just,
tried
it's
to
been
get
a while.
I haven't tried to evolve them as we've
Yeah.
been going on.
They're
So my answer
good.
is my favorite Chris pun is the next one.
Oh, you asshole. I hate that. I hate that
I like
so
puns.
much.
I do love the puns. I do love it. We always play it up as we hate it, but no, it's a lot of fun. It's good.
Thank you,
It's good.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate.
Thank you, Chris.
We appreciate the puns.
It's my way of having fun. Like
Yes.
you guys get to play in the world. I need
Chris's
something.
only enjoyable.
We talk
moment,
about us being control freaks.
Yeah.
This motherfucker needed a whole world.
Chris's only moment of enjoyment for any of the recording sessions is just the pun off the top. He hates everything else.
The next hour and a half is just misery.
Pain.
Got the next question for us. Which character would win a fight and who would win a particularly vicious verbal altercation?
Between the three of
Between the players.
Three of us?
PCs.
who would win
Yeah.
a fight?
I think the only way to settle that is like to do a roll off.
Should we do a little roll-off?
We've got dice.
Oh, jeez. I don't have my
Character sheet?
My character sheets.
Which
up.
Oh,
one?
no.
Oh my goodness. But I'm trying to think like verbal fight. Dylan would lose instantly. I think
Verbal
he
fight,
would-
Clue would lose also. So
Think
So I think in terms
feel
of
like
like
you
a
take
fist
the
fight,
I can be mean.
in terms of a fist
I
fight,
feel
it
you
would
take the
be
cake.
strength for strength, right?
Yeah.
Should we do a little roll?
Oh my god.
Okay.
I do not
Are
have
you
my
setting it
characters.
all up?
I'm pulling up campaigns.
Wonderful.
Are you opening us in different
I'm gonna make
tabs?
some noise here and clear some dice on this little pad. Maybe while that's happening, do we have one more question that we want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
into?
Here, let me pull one up.
clear,
This is a question for everyone, but I guess mostly for Chris.
Yeah.
collaborating with guest players can bring a fresh dynamic into the campaign.
Ooh.
Is that something that your team would be open to? Also, who would each person's celebrity guest be, living or dead?
Ooh.
It's a really good question. I saved it for last because it's a very good question.
That is a good one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about like bringing in like people to be like guests or like NPCs. So I think that would be a lot of fun because like I feel like we've gotten comfortable enough like riffing off each other as characters that like we can now add like a dynamic. I think it would have been tough like in the first 12 episodes just because we didn't know how to play as our characters.
I just
like,
met you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. My guest artist.
Kudos
is
to you for just like being able to just like pop in and be like, all right, let's do it.
You guys have been playing for years.
Yeah, seriously.
But no, it's
our character sheets look so different.
But in terms of like a guest I'd love to play with, I mean like any of like the
Thank you.
great like DMs would just be amazing just to like sit at the same table, like Matt Mercer, Brendan Lee Mulligan, like any of those guys. Would be,
I
like,
would
unreal.
die.
Oh,
Yeah.
Heroes.
Heroes. Brennan Mulligan is my king and queen.
Okay.
We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that.
The overarching power of the world.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about you, Meg?
Same answer, obviously, but like also like a Stephen Colbert, also like
Dude,
like
have you seen? You saw
Yeah.
him? Oh, it's
yeah,
good.
I've seen all the stuffs. But no, and I just think that also like anybody that's been like engrossed in like the lore of it or just like really honestly just different writers. Like I think that like I know that a lot of the time they're playing as DMs, but like it's so fun to then see those people play games.
Yeah. Speaking as someone who's only ever played a level 6 character in my like years of playing D&D, it's fun to play. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think for me, my celebrity guest would be Tom Hanks.
We'd have to teach him how to play.
You are pure chaos.
I love Tom Hanks. You know what? You say that, and now in my head I'm picturing like Tom Hanks playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
Tom
like
Hanks,
it's like
it's kind of funny.
It would be hilarious.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be such a sweetheart. He plays such a kind soul.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it really wasn't Tom Hanks.
All right. Favorite movie? Guess my favorite movie.
Is it Top Gun?
No. Favorite movie. Guess it. You'll never guess.
Mission Impossible.
Okay,
Just
2 seconds.
Does it have Tom Hanks in it?
Yes. It
Yeah,
has it.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I don't. He's been chaotic this
All
entire
right.
podcast.
Give us
I
a
don't know.
hint.
Dun 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 dun. That's the theme song.
I only
Hans
got,
Zimmer did the music for it.
I only got
Oh,
Pirates of the
shit.
Caribbean
Featuring
from
Stanley
that.
Tucci as the bad guy.
Toy Story.
Set in an airport.
The
Terminal.
The terminal.
The Terminal.
Yes.
Yes. Why is my favorite movie? Because he looks like my dad and he sounds like my dad.
Great. So you don't like Tom Hanks? Why do you just want your dad on the podcast? That's way easier.
No. I would prefer my Tom Hanks to be here than my father.
My Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, if you're watching.
I mixed up Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise in
shout
my
out Tom
brain
Hanks.
for the entire
For the
question.
entire time. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect.
It's fine. We're all
Tom Hanks,
anyway.
Castaway.
But in terms of
Wilson!
in terms of a
Terminal
roll off,
is your
Yes.
favorite
In
film?
terms of
Sorry.
a roll
Terminal.
off,
I know.
I've got our
Weird.
character sheets
Cute.
up here.
Weird, but cute.
If we're doing a fist fight first,
yeah, it'd be athletics.
so we're doing an athletics or just doing a roll off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I ram
Clue
them?
has a +6 to athletics. Minx has a
Okay.
Could I
+1,
do a ram attack?
and Dylan has a +6.
I'm rolling my silicone
So
dice
we both
from
got
Misty
+6s.
Mountain Gaming.
What do I have? +1?
Thank
You
you.
have
Big
+1.
shout out for you.
Sick.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're rolling d20s.
Fuck.
Oh, that's a bouncy point.
This is gonna be the lucky die.
Actually, it
You
might
guys
be okay.
ready?
What'd
Yeah.
you get?
19.
Oh,
Ooh.
+6, a 25.
Beat that.
I got a 10.
7 total. So
So I beat in strength.
You somehow
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Nice.
I win
Takes
in
me back to the cow
endurance.
tipping moment where we were both like, we triple flipped that cow.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Good
Oh, that
time.
was good.
No, that was a good one.
And then in terms of the verbal altercation,
no,
it'd probably
this is
just
gonna
be
be
like
bad.
a
Like what is cutting
Charisma?
words?
Maybe?
Cutting words is typically like what's saving?
I'd do charisma probably.
Is that a charisma
Yeah,
saving?
just like a straight up charisma. Dylan has a -1.
Yes.
Minx has a +5, and Clue has a +3.
Okay.
That is a
I've been
6.
rolling so bad.
18.
6. What?
My total's a 9. Nothing
Hey,
has changed.
I was right.
Clue
I would
wins.
lose.
Clue wins.
So yeah, the dice were right. The dice tell the
dice-
And
story.
you know what? That
The
makes
dice
sense
tell the
based on
story.
Clue's backstory, which we're not getting into.
No.
None of those war crimes.
What other cues do we have there?
Couple more.
Let me
Couple more.
pull
We're
up.
we're getting close to the end.
We are getting close to the end.
Can't believe it.
I know, right?
I know.
So many.
that. Thank you so much for sending all the
Thanks,
questions.
guys.
You guys are awesome.
Question and very poignant. Do you think there will ever be a point where you record a video for the podcast?
This
No.
Or
one.
do a live show?
No,
No,
Never.
it's never happening.
no. We're
It's never
actually
happening.
all the video footage is just for ourselves. We're just releasing this as a podcast.
Only audio.
Wait,
yeah. No,
are
we're
we recording
releasing
it?
No.
Wait, are we not rolling?
Are we live?
Are we recording?
Yes. the
Sarah,
answer is
your
yes.
your question was answered.
We did it.
We did it.
Nice.
Unlike all the other questions which we haven't answered, your question was answered.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions here?
You know, like there's a couple.
did you add
that we
those
can-
extra ones that I that had in my texts?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just making sure that those were added.
D&D often requires quick decision making and creative problem solving. Prior to the session, is there anything you do to get into the mindset, or are you able to just jump right in?
I made a playlist,
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
sick.
which I can put out sometime at some point because I did a little
amazing.
thing, and I think
Fuck yeah.
it'd be cute if you guys
Yes.
did one because then we could all have one, and then we can put them up, and then there's just more to listen to, but it's a vibe.
Yeah. I'm just a consultant in my 9 to 5 and just get generally angry and then show up for most of our recordings after work, and I'm feeling great. Feeling great for the character.
Yeah, Dylan's playlist is just like straight up like house and jungle music. Just techno, it's trance, it's all of it. It's just the most insane.
I was picturing like only musical theater, like
or that,
hyped
yeah.
up West
Or
Side
both,
Story.
really
like,
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
oh my god!
And I guess I would say, yeah, I already said I do the voices on the drive over, so
Yeah.
that kind of gets me in the mindset.
Yeah.
But we also just like have a quick debrief before we even start recording the four
We
of
do.
us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We sort of like we just chat about like overall goals as characters because I think that just
Yeah.
sort of like puts us in a space of like remembering what we did last session.
What happened last time?
Sort of
Which-
like getting back into our characters.
You know what's the best thing that gets us into character? Is a quick little recap by Chris, which we start every episode with.
That's true. We do that, but we also do like a little debrief, just to sort of get up all on the same page.
Mhm.
I think that question was from Aaron, if I'm not.
It might be. I didn't write it down, so it's probably one of the reasons.
Well, if it is, thank you, Aaron. I believe that is a question from you.
Even in home games, like that's something that I do with people, like whether it's like I'm playing as DM or like I'm playing as player, like I like to like sometimes it's like I have a checklist of things that I want to try to do
Yeah.
that game. Cause it's also nice, like I'll ask my players for it too. Cause I'm like, the world is big.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's huge.
Can you give me
Yeah.
an area of where
Yeah.
we're going a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's
I-
kind of what we go through.
I go through my awful
Like our
handwritten
wish lists.
notes. Yes.
Yeah.
I always write down like I have my like handwritten notes that are just absolutely awful. There they are. Disgusting.
just not a single thing on.
But
anyone. Why get a line?
half the time I can't understand them, but like I usually like put like the
Gets you in the headspace.
Well, yeah, I just we like finish the episode, and then off the top of my head, I'm like, what are the most important things that I need to remember for the beginning of the next episode? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, like this here, talk to the stone, da 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 da, like all these like things that are just like top of mind. We have Meridium because I think we forgot that we had it.
it's in
some
my
of the-
it's in my inventory.
for sure, but I just mean like you know little tiny things like that.
Yeah, 100% to bring
Um,
yourself up to speed again.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That I
I
think
think that's-
is
yeah.
the end of the questions. If we missed your question, I'm sorry. It was a error on our part. Not
Yes.
an,
If you can't
error
tell,
on
we're
yours.
extremely organized.
Very
so
organized.
organized. Just look
We
at the
tried.
notebook.
Yeah.
Getting into the outro, I think we already mentioned it.
Yes.
But we are coming out with the first episode of Chapter 2.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
coming out September 5th, 2023.
Which is
If-
a Tuesday. I
which is a
believe.
It is a
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Change into Tuesdays.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tavern
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Tavern Tuesdays.
I like that.
Canon. TM.
That's nice.
Ours.
all of it.
Yeah,
all of it.
ours.
That's how it
Copyright
works,
to the
right?
max.
That's how it works, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, get you earlier in your week if you
Mhm.
need something to listen to.
mhm.
absolutely.
And coming out every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So
we're
we're
doing
doing
a
every
bi-weekly
2 weeks.
release now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Other than that, it really just comes down to plugs.
Yes. Who wants to? Chris, why don't? Oh, Maggie, Chris, anyone?
I don't want to.
No, go.
Oh.
Please
Oh my
go.
God. We're so
Please
Canadian.
Go.
We're so polite.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let's take
All right,
it again.
Instagram at Trouble at the Tavern. We have
Yes.
an email, which is troubleattetavern@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Yes.
We are
Our
on
now YouTube page
our
as
YouTube
well.
page.
Trouble
yes.
at the Tavern.
Mhm.
You're watching here.
Surprise,
First,
surprise.
yes, Trouble at the Tavern. And
Our website is
God.
Trouble at the Tavern Podcast.
it's like ripping teeth out.
It is. We hate it. We hate plugins.
There's
usually cut a
there's
lot
a
of
link
this.
tree and everything you need is in
There's a
there.
link tree.
It's usually it's just trouble at the tavern dot whatever or at whatever. It's the general.
Yep.
Nobody had taken it, which was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
The most important thing is that you can listen to us anywhere you listen to any
Yes.
podcast ever. That's any streaming application, Spotify, Apple Music, the others.
And don't forget to smash that like button.
Oh, right.
no.
Comment down below and tell us what was your favorite part from this video.
Couldn't even get through it.
No, couldn't get through. It's super crazy.
But honestly, yeah,
but it is
leave a
important.
comment. Thank you so much
Yes,
for
it helps
doing
us.
this.
I guess the biggest plug is just like the listeners.
Yes.
Right? Like we got to do a huge shout out to them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
why don't you look at them when you talk to them?
Hi, listeners. We just want to say thank you
A
so
slow
much.
zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. Camera on me. Camera two.
This is
Um,
Chris's 2 minutes. Chris's monologue.
Little
Yeah.
violin.
Yeah. We just want to say thank you for giving us a listen. If you've been listening from the start or just tuned in the last like week or so, thank you so much. We wouldn't have been able to do something like this without you guys and your input. Little peek behind the screen into our real life. We just went to Fan Expo.
Yeah,
recently,
we did.
And we met a lot of cool people and
Yeah.
a lot of hopefully new listeners. So if you're listening to this, it was lovely meeting you, and we can't wait to produce more amazing stuff.
It's our
Yeah, that you
favorite
guys
thing
can-
to do in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
really is. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
And speaking of thank yous, thank you to
Oh, yes.
Clayton and Dylan here.
at
Dil-
Soda Studios.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thank
Dylan,
you,
how,
Christian.
Dylan, how do you spell your name?
Oh,
Hey!
shit. Another way.
Don't
I
listen.
told you. I told you it was different. I told you.
They are here at Soda Studios, and they are the ones who provided us with this fucking awesome space.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very
look at
cool.
this.
Shout out to Dalbert Villarino for doing
Yes.
the
This-
sword
shout out to
art.
Dal.
Thank you so much.
It makes us
Um,
feel professional. And that's the most important thing for us. That puts us in the headspace of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once again, if we didn't get to your questions, anywhere you comment questions, anything you want to know about, we will be stacking all those up and answering them in the next Q&A, most
Yeah.
likely
Or
after the
last
second
calls
session.
as well.
Or last calls.
Yeah.
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 Like we're open to talk
100%.
about anything and everything. So, we love you all.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. It's a long podcast. Yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.
Oh, did we have to end it that way?
We sure
Yes.
did.
No, we
Yes,
didn't.
of course.